Hey everybody, it's John here from ATS. First off, I'd like to thank you for your purchase, and in this video, I'm going to go over the basic setup of the Trade Execution Engine, or Trexen for short. If you're using Linux or a Ubuntu VPS, there will be a few extra steps required to get it running, which will be provided in the links below. Also, at the time of this recording, Trexen is still in beta, so things might look a little bit different between now and when you get your bot as we add new features and improvements. First, you need the Chrome extension. This extension reads your Tradingview alerts and sends them straight to your bot. In the future, this functionality is going to be built straight into Trexen, but for now, this is how the bot will read your alerts. This extension might be available in the Chrome store directly by the time you watch this, but if it's not there yet, here's how you set it up manually. So first, we're going to take our installation package and extract our Chrome extension. Next, we're going to open up our browser, go to Options, More Tools, Extensions, Enable Developer Mode, and Load Unpacked. So we're just going to select the folder that we extracted to previously, and we're live. If you don't want to bother with the Chrome extension, or if you're running on Linux without a GUI, you can also just configure Trexen to read your emails. Personally, I have both the extension and emails configured in the bot, and this way I can send manual orders. If I'm not at the computer, I could just quickly send an email from my phone. So when you purchase your bot, you're also going to be given a pair of license keys. So these license keys will be one for the bot and one for the extension. Let's set up the license for the extension first. We're going to go to our options for our Tradingview Alert extension and set up our license. Hit save. And we're connected. Now that the Chrome extension is all set up, let's configure the bot. In your bot folder, there will be a file named config, shown here. And we're going to take our license key for the bot and plug it straight in. We're going to set ourselves up for Binance first. And for Binance, all you need is your API key and API secret. You need to generate these keys from the Binance exchange after logging in, and we can provide a guide for how to do that. It's pretty simple. The one weird thing with Binance is that you also have to synchronize your system clock. If your clock isn't synchronized with the exchange, then Binance is not going to accept your orders. It's another layer of security, I guess, on their end. There's guides of how to do that online, and we'll provide links for this below this video. Here's the Binance configuration of Trexen, and now we're going to create an order set that we can later attach to our Tradingview alerts. Let's trade some Ethereum. FBTC. With every order set that gets triggered from Tradingview, it's usually good practice to make sure that we don't have any other orders open for this market, because that would eat up your balance and, Binance might reject your order. To do this, we're going to add a cancel order to our order set. Select cancel orders, add it to our order set. There it is. Next, we're going to set up our entry. I'm going to open with a market order. Market. And it needs to be a market buy. One of the really good features of this bot is that it does a lot of calculations automatically. You can already see that things are percentage based, and there's this handy feature called max position. What max position does is it automatically allocates a portion of your entire wallet value towards this market. This way, Ethereum Bitcoin trades have an isolated balance. You can think of it kind of like a sub-wallet. So this is different from Binance's 25, 50, 75 order controls because this calculates against your entire account worth, whereas Binance only calculates against Bitcoin. So if you keep making 50% trades on Bitcoin, you never really run out of Bitcoin, and position sizing is hard that way. really you want to think in terms of how much of your entire wallet am I allocating towards these trades. So this makes it easy here on Trexen. Since I got a couple pairs going already, we got Ripple, we got ADA, and now I'm going to add Bitcoin. I mean, not Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin. Now we have 3 pairs. So I want to allocate most of my wallet towards all these trades. To do that, I'm going to set my max position to 30%. And I'll set 30% for Ripple and ADA trades as well. But here we're just making our Ethereum trades. So now we have 30% allocated. Next is the position size. Now we're talking about dividing up our max position into smaller chunks. So we can spread out our orders, and we don't have to worry about going over what we allocated towards the Ethereum trades. I'm going to demo with a market order. I'm going to do 50% in market, add this up. What this says is that I'm going to use 50% of my allocated funds to trade this trade. And 50% of 30% means it's going to translate to 15% of my entire wallet. Now I'm going to add a limit order, and I want to undercut it by 1%. So the bot knows that when I say 1% here, it means 1% below the current price. And that's because it's a buy order. If it's a sell order, it knows to do 1% above. So you really can't screw this up. You don't have to think about, oh, do I need to go negative or positive? The bot already knows what to do. You can't screw this up. I'm going to add the rest of my funds over here with the limit order, 1% below whatever price it is when this order gets executed. And finally, we want to do a stop. Stop quantities are calculated against your holdings and your orders, so max position isn't applicable for these types of orders, at least for a stop sell. I'm going to add this stop order. I want to stop out 100% of my funds, my open order, and I'm going to make it 3%. And of course, since the bot is smart, it knows 3% on a stop sell means 3% below the current price. These prices here are just a preview. It's going to auto-calculate depending on when your order actually comes in from Tradingview. I'm going to take this stop market, and actually I want it to become a trailing stop. So since it's a trailing stop, I want to tighten it up a little bit. I'm going to make it 2%. I'm going to update this order, and now this is a trailing stop. I'm going to hit save on this order, and I can explain what a trailing stop is. So trailing stops are really powerful tools. If you've traded on BitMEX, you're probably already familiar with it, but if not, this is a quick rundown. Say you entered in around here and you placed the stop here. Obviously the price here shot up, so the stop would be automatically updated so that it would follow the price as long as it's going up. As it goes down, it would just hang out here until it either gets stopped out, or in this case, if the price moves up a little bit higher. So now we're up here, and then as the price comes down, we have locked our profits, and that's a nice 2.5% without having to really do anything on your end as a user. So stops with trailing stops are really powerful tools, and they'll really help increase your profits. Now we're going to set up an alert so that we can make these orders automatically on the bot. What we're going to do is open up the chart that we want to trade. We got Ethereum, Bitcoin here. Add an indicator. Add our alert of choice. Here I'm going to use ATS channel. I'm not going to go through any configuration because this is just an example. So ideally you would obviously want to set up your alerts so that they're optimized for the coins that you're trading. Add an alert over here. I'm going to select our ATS channel alerts. Aggressive buy, aggressive buy. For these types of scripts, for the aggressive buys, you want to use once per bar. And make sure that the pop-up is enabled if you're going to be using the ATS Chrome extension. And in the message, we're going to type in how we saved, whatever we saved our order set as from before. So in this case, we saved it as F buy. So we're going to do F buy. going to take a second for it to show up in TradingView because my connection is slow right now, I think. But I'm just going to show how you would set up the other side. It's the same thing. You would do aggressive sell, and once per bar. And my alert is finally in. Thank you, TradingView. To figure out if your alerts are working and if they're being received and processed correctly on the bot, what you could do is, a handy trick that I have is you select your coin and you do greater than value of 0. Only once show pop up, and again we're going to try out our test order. So once I set this alert, it should fairly instantaneously fire the alert since Ethereum is always greater than 0. So it's just going to shoot this alert off right away, and then we can see it being executed on the bot right away. So I'm going to create this. Take a look at the bot. It instantly picked up the order, and the orders are complete. Let's take a look at our balances now. And here we are. We have our Ethereum, which was bought with a market order. We have our limit and our stop. You can look at a percentage view. We set this at 30% of our entire wallet, and we split our entries into halves. So each entry was 15%. 30 times 50 is 15%. So you see we have 15% from our market order and another 15% left over with our limit order. And since this limit order hasn't filled yet, this stop is going to be just our whatever we have in our market order. So the stop will update later once you have enough. So an interesting thing just happened. Actual alert just went off. I think that's probably because I did every time. So you want to make sure it's only once, just for further reference. But this is a good time to show what's going to happen. So even though I got a double order that I did not intend, it went and said that if this order came in, it would have exceeded what we allocated, so it's not going to do anything. Well, it capped it off because since there's a little bit of rounding, Binance loves to round your orders and make BNB dust. The order is below the minimum order value, so it didn't even bother placing it either. And that's that. And the stop got updated. And that's the orders in action. And I'm gonna stop this from freaking out right now. Yeah, stop giving me alerts there. All right, and that about wraps it up for alerts. And now we can move on to BitMEX. I really don't want you guys to get wrecked, so I highly recommend you play around with the testnet first to get acquainted with how exactly the bot works, how the position sizing works, all that stuff before you move on to the live net. If you're trading Binance, this is also a good way to play around with the order sizing and figure out how it works without risking any crypto. So to set up BitMEX with Trexen, this is of course the testnet account, but the live net is exactly the same. You go to your account, you go to API keys, create a name. This is if you want to restrict API usage to a certain IP, a particular IP, ideally your VPS, so this adds a nice extra layer of security. Key permissions, very important. You want to make sure that it's order. Order cancel will only allow you to cancel orders, so you don't want that. You want to be able to do both. And we create the API key. So once you create this, you won't see the secret anymore. We want to make sure that we copy it into our configuration right away. Since this is testnet, copy it into our testnet. And if you want to switch to LiveNet, fill out obviously your LiveNet API keys and secrets and change this LiveNet configuration to 1. Right now we're going to leave it disabled so that we can run on testnet. This is Trexen, configured for BitMEX. There's some special orders here that are available only on Trexen. For example, there's a BE stop, which stands for break-even stop. As the name implies, this will set a stop at break even. I'm going to set it right on where I would be breaking even. Let's place that order. You see the stop was placed exactly on my entry. Let's try that again, but this time let's lock in some profits. I'm going to cancel all my orders from my view here. I want to overcut my entry by 0.4%. And you see it placed the stop 0.4 above my order, my entry. Another useful feature is a limit close. So a limit close order, as the name implies, will close your position with a limit. But unlike BitMEX, where you have to enter in a particular price, the limit close will calculate your price automatically. Right now I'm long, so with my limit close I want to close my long position, and let's close it exactly on the ask. So you see the order is placed exactly on the ask. Say I want to limit close but a little bit higher, and let's say I only want to limit close 25% of my position. So let's do 1%. Again, Trexen knows which way to place the order. I'm going to limit close my long, 25% of it, and send it. And here we are, 25% of my position is going to be closed, 1% away from the current price. Now I'm going to market close the rest of my position. So these limit close and market close orders base their quantities off of your current open position. So with this market close, I'm going to close first half of my position, market close my long, current order, and you see half of my position has been closed. Now I'm just going to close the rest of it. I'm going to do a max position demo here once again, since it's a lot easier to visualize this on the BitMEX testnet. To start off, I'm going to make a limit order, and for this limit order I want it exactly on the bid. So I'm sure if you've played with BitMEX before, you want to undercut fees, you want to reduce your fees. So what you do is you make limit orders, but it's hard to get your limit orders to fill if you're being a high frequency trader or something, or if you just really want to get the best limit entry and you don't want that price to move away from you. So it's really easy to do that on Trexen. So I'm going to set, I want to only trade with 10% of my wallet this time because we're on BitMEX and we want to be safe. Out of this 10%, I want to do a 33% order, long on the bid. So 33% of 10 is roughly 3%. And let's keep doing that. Let's place another spread order here. 33, 1%. See, there's the 1% below the current price. And then we also want to do a market order. I don't want to stop market. Let's market order, 33%. Now we've used up our 10% allocated max position. So what happens when we go over that? So let's try to go over that. Let's say our alerts are triggering more than we expect, or just part of our strategy. We just want to cut off at 10%. We don't care what happens. We just want 10% of our wallet allocated. So I'm going to place that order. And what happens? A little bit of rounding, so we got 2 more extra contracts since that 33% was an exact division of our 10% max position. So I'm going to order again, and nothing happens. Why did nothing happen? Well, let's look at the log here. That last order, we had already filled our maximum position, so it's not doing any more orders. It capped the orders at 0. Before we had a little bit left, so it capped our order at 2 contracts. So Trexen is really smart with your position sizing, and it's really going to help you not have to think about how many contracts you need and what that translates to. It's all done automatically on the bot. What's more is stops are also calculated in the same way. The position sizing for stops, it knows how many contracts it needs to place for a stop. So let's use a weird example. So I have this set up right now. I want to set a stop right here at 33.64. 33.64. Again, we're going to stop out our entire position size. So the bot knew that between this stop and your position and all the orders above, you had 46 contracts. It doesn't care about what's below because it knows that, hey, I'm right here between these orders, so I only need 46 contracts here. Another nice feature is if you want to stop and you know later on you're going to create more orders and you don't know how many contracts you're going to place, what you can do is you can set your position size to 0, and this will place a maximum stop order. So let's do a maximum stop order at 2%. What happens then is it places a maximum stop. So this maximum stop of 99999, it can never increase your position. Same with any other stops. All the stops can never increase your position. So it's safe to place your stops without worrying that it's going to increase your position in the other direction. All right, so let's go over some example order sets. BitMEX orders on Trexen operate a little bit differently than what we're used to up until this point with Binance. In Binance, we execute the orders one after the other sequentially. On BitMEX, all of the orders are calculated with their prices and quantities. They're all calculated beforehand in one go, and then all of the orders are placed simultaneously on the exchange. So it's calculating everything at once and placing them all immediately on the exchange. Why does it do this? This is because on BitMEX, I'm sure you have all seen the dreaded server overload where you can't do anything. So if you're in the middle of placing orders and you're doing them sequentially, you might get overloaded, like say here, and then you don't get to place your stop market, and then you are playing with fire because you expect the stop to be there and it's not, and that's not good. So with BitMEX, in order to do a position switch, you need to first close your open position before you go and order the other side. Right now we have a long order set open. Let's just pretend that some of our long order filled. So I'm just going to market order from the bot. Might as well. Let's make a market order. Market long. Oh, now we got an order filled. All right, that's cool. Let's just go with that. Now, our script gave us a short signal. It didn't really, but let's just pretend our script gave us a short signal. So I'm going to open up the short switch example order set. And let's run through these orders. It's just like the previous order set with one minor difference. First, it's going to close the position, obviously. It's going to cancel all the orders. It's going to try to limit close the entire open position on the bid. And if this fills, which is more likely than not going to happen, you save a lot on fees. If the market is moving really rapidly, then you want to make sure you still exit your position. So we still leave a stop market sell really close to the current price. And then after that, we have these orders with wait specified on them. Wait tells the bot that this is the second part of the order. These orders will wait until your position is closed. So let's execute this. We've closed our position, or we're trying to. We have this limit close over here with the 73 contracts on the opposite side. And really close by, we have a stop market in case that position doesn't close. You'll notice that there's take profit orders here already. These take profit orders are different from limit close. Limit close orders require an open position because they are calculated against your open position. Take profit market orders don't care. Take profit market orders just use your current account balance to size the order. So these orders use your entire balance to figure out how many contracts to order here. So our position closed, our order was filled, and now we have our spread entry. The stop is still here, but it doesn't matter because once this stop gets crossed, it's not going to change our position for our short because this is a stop market sell, but it also can't increase our position size. So this is safe to be here. We can just get rid of it so that it's pretty, but it's not going to hurt anything. All right, and now we're short. We have our spread entry and we have our profit levels. Setting up alerts for automatic order execution is just like how we did in Binance. What we're going to do is we are going to figure out which order we want to use. So we're going to just close out our short. So this is our short close. All it's going to do is cancel all of our orders, limit close, and then a stop market really close by. As with before, we're going to load up our test alerts, which is going off like crazy right now. Let's stop this for a second. All right, let's create a new test alert. Again, Ethereum greater than 0, only once, show pop-up, and put our message here. You'll notice that, wait, we're creating an alert on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. It doesn't matter. All the bot cares about is what's in this message here. And this is important because if you're trading on an exchange like BitMEX, sometimes it's better to use a cleaner chart. BitMEX charts are notoriously noisy. You know, there's the huge liquidation wicks. It can throw your strategy, your alerts and strategy off. So I like to use more stable charts such as Binance or Bitfinex, and I use those charts to generate alerts, and I'll run those alerts on BitMEX. So like before, I'm going to create this instant alert. It's going to go off. We're going to pick it up right away. And we see it's here on the exchange. Our current price is $50 a month for the bot itself and $175 a month if you subscribe to the package deal with the scripts. This is a special limited time offer, and it's our way of showing our appreciation to our early supporters. If you order now, you'll be locked into these promotional rates, and you'll be provided with all future updates for Trexen and the scripts, and your monthly subscription will never increase. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all on the moon.